part 2 of kinds of pronouns. In the previous video, in part 1, we covered up personal pronouns, possessive pronouns, demonstrative pronouns, and interrogative pronouns. Today, we shall cover 3 more pronouns: reflexive pronouns, emphatic pronouns, and relative pronouns. So, let's begin with the first pronoun for the day, and that is reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are easily recognizable by these words that are there. These are the singular pronouns, myself, yourself, so on. And these are the reflexive pronouns in the plural. So, myself, plural, ourselves. Yourself, yourselves. The F is dropped. Himself, herself, itself. The plural form becomes themselves. Now, what is a reflexive pronoun? In the reflexive pronoun, the action that is done by the subject is reflected back. That means it comes back, it falls on the subject itself. For example, when we look into the mirror, whom do we see? Ourselves, isn't it? So the same way, the same thing is reflected back. That means the action done and received by the same subject. Or we can say even subject and object are the same in a sentence which contains a reflexive pronoun. Let's make it more clear with these examples that we have. I hurt myself while climbing the tree. Now, another very important thing is a reflexive pronoun always comes after the verb. Okay? Now, who is the subject over here? I hurt myself. So, who has got hurt? Myself. That means I and myself, the action is falling back again on the subject. And this is the verb over here, and the reflexive pronoun always comes after the verb. Similarly, the dog. Subject is the dog. What is the verb? Licked. That is the action. Itself. Itself is a reflexive pronoun. So again, the action that is being done, that is on the subject itself. Now, you can see some more examples on your slide. We enjoyed ourselves at the party. Please pour yourself. That means you have to pour yourself a cup of tea. Please help yourselves to the snacks. So you can see in all these sentences that the reflexive pronoun always comes after the verb. Now, let us look at the next type of pronoun, and that is the emphatic pronoun. Emphatic pronouns. Emphatic pronouns are also exactly the same like the reflexive pronouns. Myself, ourselves, yourself, yourselves, himself, herself, itself, in the plural form ourselves. That is a written equal to sign. That means they are the same. If the pronouns are the same, then what is extra in the emphatic pronoun? When we talk about these emphatic pronouns, it focuses on the subject. That means it makes the subject feel more important. It lays more stress on the subject. And another very important thing of an emphatic pronoun is it always comes before the verb and after the subject. For example, I myself wash the car. When I say I myself, that means according to me, I've done a big work, I've done a very important work. So I'm saying I myself wash the car. And I could have also said I washed the car myself. But that doesn't give much importance to the subject I. Similarly, the actor himself performed the action scene. So that means this is something which is really very big, because action scenes are dangerous. And so if the actor is doing it himself, that means he's done a great job. We could have also said the actor performed the action scenes himself. But when we say it that way, it doesn't give that much of importance to the subject, the actor. And this is the main difference between reflexive pronoun and an emphatic pronoun. That an emphatic pronoun stresses or lays more importance, focuses on the subject. It always comes before the verb. And in a reflexive pronoun, it comes after the verb. Like for example, over here you can see the verb is washed over here. So the pronoun is before and it is after the subject. Now, the next slide will just at a glance give you the difference between the reflexive pronouns and the emphatic pronouns. Now, just a quick round of our exercise. So, just take out all your writing materials, and exercise 1, you just have to identify whether the sentences contain reflexive pronoun or emphatic pronoun. Answers all in front of you. The highlighted yellow ones are reflexive pronouns and the blue ones are all emphatic pronouns. Like you can see, we entertained ourselves. So ourselves is coming after the verb. The Prime Minister himself visited the victims. Okay, so before the verb visited, we have himself and we are giving importance to the subject. Similarly, the rest of it, please take care of yourself as you have fever. Just look at all the answers and let's move with the next type of pronoun that we're going to cover up today, and that is the relative pronoun. Relative pronouns. Relative pronouns refer to nouns that we have already spoken about in the sentence. For example, if you look at this sentence that we there, the policeman who caught the thief was rewarded. That means the policeman has already done some action. What action? Of catching the thief. So I'm referring to the policeman who caught the thief. He was rewarded. Now, and which are these words that we call as relative pronouns? All these words: who, whom, whose, which, that, and whose. Now, there's a list on your slide in which all the relative pronouns have been mentioned over there, and along with that it's mentioned they are used whether for people or animals or for things. In brief, if we were to just see it, if they are people, we use who, whom, whose, and which, and for animals and things we use which, that, and whose. And there are examples given over there, so just read the examples given. And in the same way, you can see the park, which I'm already talking about. The park that we had already visited last week has been closed. Mother found the ring that was missing. So we are referring to something that was already missing and now it has been found. Now, that and which. When to use that and when to use which. Now, when you move on to the higher classes, you'll be learning about clauses. So there you'll learn the exact usage of this. But for you now, you need to remember that if in a sentence, now this usually comes in the fill in the blank sort of use, that or which. If there is a comma after the noun, like the park, this comma is there. If there is a comma after the noun, then use which. If there is no comma, then you use that. Like mother found the ring that was missing. And over here, if after the ring I put in a comma, then we will not put in that, we will put which. But since there is no comma, you can easily just use the word that. So these are sometimes tested in the exams, in the test, whether to use which or whether to use that. After having a look at the slide and along with that the examples, we'll have just one very small exercise. You just have to fill in the blanks with relative pronouns. So come on, have a go at it. Answers all in front of you. The movie that we watched was very scary. And the next, the fort, and just see there's a little comma over there. So we are going to use which. The fort which we visited is nearly 400 years old. The singer being a person who is singing is my childhood friend. The man whose bike was stolen is going to the police station. And the last one, this is Nilesh, whom you met last year at my birthday party. So, today with these 3 pronouns and the 4 pronouns that we've covered up in part 1, total we have gone through 7 different kinds of pronouns. So, have a look at part 1 also, and of course part 2 we've just done, to just brush up your knowledge of the pronouns and have more practice in it. So till we meet again with another new topic, it's goodbye.